I want to welcome Art from Sensamotion here to Lion Heart Music Fest conversation. How's everything going?
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
And please let the people know of your location.
Yes, we're coming at you live from right outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Trick, man, is always on the road. Please explain how reggae got so big in Atlantic City.
Um, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with the culture of people coming down and like wanting to be engaged in that reggae spirit. I think the beach certainly brings it out in a lot of people, and it created a market for like a band like Sensamotion, like where we did the casino gigs and played roots reggae music and like to the people, and it kind of fostered a nice little nest and little bubble in the area that we're glad to be a part of. It's a small bubble, but it's something.
Were there any bands in Atlantic City that inspired you that were doing reggae music prior?
Uh, not that I'm aware of. Even since before I was in Sensamotion, the band probably for at least 10 years was one of um, the main hitters in the area. There's a couple other bands in the area that were doing the same thing, but it's been a pretty niche market.
I know it's Sense of Motion, right? For those unaware, can you speak about the origins of the band and the origins of the name?
So the band was just a group of friends with a dream. Probably about 15 or 16 years ago. Started by a bunch of friends that went to school together. Playing roots, and yeah, got established in the Jersey scene, and um, so saw some success in its original form. And around 2018 is when I actually stepped in as the lead singer, and that's kind of led to like how the band has evolved sonically over the past 4 to 5 years. It's kind of like a play on words, like to sense emotion, um, and like you just like you feel the motion and the ways of life and the world, and that's kind of where the band's name kind of.
I was reading an article where it stated that you were heavily influenced by uh, Vaughn Benjamin there at Midnight and also Groundation. Was that you personally, or is that the members of the band?
Definitely all of us. I think Vaughn's kind of depth and like kind of spiritual and like introspective intensity kind of like influenced like us lyrically and like how he delivers it. And Vaughn was very like poetic, and his lyrics kind of carry like lots of layers that you can kind of keep unraveling for years. And that's something that like deeply resonated with the first iteration of the band as well as the second. And it's someone that we are constantly playing.
What was your first introduction to Midnight, and also how long did it take you to start deciphering the songs?
So I mean, I was introduced to Midnight from the original members of Sensamotion, because I used to actually cover some of the songs like Nakafaya, like from I know Ancient Maps was one of my first introductions to Vaughn, and it kind of like changed like uh, my perspective on like how reggae could be conveyed, um, and like how you could convey it musically as well as lyrically, and also just like scouring YouTube for all the kind of like bootleg recordings of all these performances. Yeah.
No, that's a vibe, man. And,
Yeah,
groundation. Can you speak about that influence also?
yeah. Definitely like his fusion of like jazz and his kind of soulful energy. You know, Harrison has such a unique presence on stage, and he's so intentional with his messages and his music. Like, and you can really tell it when you see him live. You know, the guys used to travel far and wide to go see Groundation. I've only had a chance to see them a handful of times, but it's definitely something special there.
How did you guys build up such a strong fan base on the East Coast?
You know, I mean, a lot of it is consistency, and you know, there's another word that I'm gonna keep keep using that I used for like Vaughn and Harrison. You know, it's just we we try to be intentional with our music and the message, and you know, I think people really notice that, and there's definitely been a shift in people and their outlook, or well, and just their perspective on us. And you know, it's been, we've had this nice little snowball kind of forming, um, and you know, it's been working out.
I know you've done a lot of collaborations with people you refer
Hmm.
to as support fans. Who have you learned from the most in regards to these bands that are touring, in regards to their production, in regards to their approach to live shows, merch, and everything else?
I mean, for me, you know, especially in the last 2 years, as our touring has picked up, you know, I think there's um, realizing that there's always something to learn or always something to improve on, you know, whether that is production or how you engage with the crowd, or, you know, making the time to go out and interact with the crowd, like, you know, for, on a personal level. You know, I think like being more personable with the fans, and, you know, making it more about um, broadening the connection with people outside of the music and on a more personal level. You know, like, yeah, just that's been one major takeaway. You know, that I've learned from a lot of these bands out here. You know, um, people can get connected to your music, but you know, if they have a personal connection with you, you know, it's even more powerful.
A serious thing. And so you guys tour a lot, right? You tour a lot. How do you balance touring and the creation of music and the recording of music?
Um, you know, well, um, so the other guys, all of us in the band are kind of always, we have this like ethos of creativity that, you know, we're always kind of, you know, making rhythms and, you know, sharing with each other, like, you know, what do we like, you know. And in the digital age, it's become, you know, a lot easier to work on things, like, especially like I live in Baltimore now, and um, the other guys live in Atlantic City. So um, you know, we have a constant, you know, kind of line of, you know, what did we think of this idea, and then, like, you know, we'll get together for like recording sessions. And you know, it's definitely, it can be a challenge to make all the puzzle pieces come together. You know, especially, you know, I think we all prefer to write music in the same room together, but you know, sometimes the way life shakes out, that's not always possible. But technology has definitely aided in that.
What can the attendees expect from Sensamotion at Lionheart Music Fest?
Um, you know, sense of motion is powerful yet meditative. You know, so you know, you can be prepared to dance and to you know, we hope to strike a chord on a deeper level with people as well.
And due to the content of your lyrics, right? What are you guys reading or listening to keep you on to kind of present that energy to the world?
I mean, you know, I have a strong belief that, you know, like, you know, we're always working on ourselves as people, you know. And you know, the one thing that we all have in common is the human condition, you know. And you know, I think that's um, something that um, should be celebrated and also talked about, and I try to convey that in my lyrics that I write, and come from the heart, that sort of thing.
Everyone's looking forward to your performance at Lionheart Music Fest.
Yeah, yeah, we can't wait to be a part of it again this year. It's such an awesome place, and the energy of all the people there last year was great, and we're grateful to be a part of it this year. So thanks for having us.